As someone who talks about watches online, it's probably sacrilege to admit, but whenever anyone mentions Pilot's watches, my mind drifts off. I don't know my Type 1 from my Type 2, and that goes for diabetes as well. I thought lacquer is what Aussies called polished wood, and when you say Spitfire, I picture a rapper delivering a killer diss line. Pilot's watches, sorry, but I find it all so dull. It's the horological equivalent of spending a Saturday afternoon at a transport museum when all you want to do is watch The Sopranos, not even knowing how to navigate the cockpit of your PCP paid hatchback. So look, I was as surprised as anybody that I was given the freedom to choose any watch from Marloe's catalogue, and my attention was immediately drawn to this, the Pacific 52. Welcome back everyone, and if you're new, could you please subscribe as it really helps out the channel. Thanks, and now onto the watch. When I first opened the Marloe Pacific 52, I thought they'd sent the wrong watch, or at least the wrong accompanying literature. Whilst the brochure talks about this watch being inspired by the dawn of the jet age and features images of planes and their opulent interiors, this watch doesn't immediately strike you as something with aviation at its heart. This apparent dichotomy shouldn't be seen as bad though. The Pacific 52 mightn't immediately strike you as a pilot's watch, but it will be immediately striking, even if only for the elaborate packaging, which was a pleasant surprise when I first opened this up. And there's clearly an effort that's gone into this, with an attention to detail and passion for the story this piece wants to tell shining through, very much like my CV in that respect. Looking at the watch itself, the dial is deceptively simple, possibly why it resonates with me. At first glance, it's an incredibly legible three-hander, classy looking, if a bit plain. The more you look at it though, the more apparent its hidden details become. Speaking of details, I'm going to throw up the specs on screen now. That top one, the diameter, is an interesting one. I think this wears ever so slightly larger than the 40mm would suggest for a couple of three reasons. The first is the Arabic numerals sit within the train track markers that run along the circumference of the watch face, like a dial within a dial, so to speak. The second, to my eyes at least, is that the distortion on the incredible domed sapphire crystal is so distorted and reflective that it can look at certain angles like a thin strip separating the glass and the polished surface of the upper of the watch. Almost like a dive time bezel is there, wearing an invisibility cloak. This might just be in my head, and it's kinda tricky to put into words, so let me know in the comments if you know what I mean. And even though it makes the watch wear slightly larger, it's a more dynamic piece because of that. I should also say here, whilst we're on the glass, the anti-reflective coating does an amazing job of making this watch legible, whatever the lighting conditions. But there's no lume here to speak of, so stop fucking asking. The numerals play with the light though, occasionally flashing their bronze hue in your direction, like an overzealous bachelor making eyes across an empty room. They seem to jump off of the dial, and they offer a dynamic contrast to the silver-white textured dial surface. They're actually made of copper though, as is the second hand, the shadow of which skitters about the dial and gives chase to the second hand itself, like a dog chasing its own tail, and your eyes can't help but follow along. It has room for this thanks to the lack of text, just the brand name at 12 o'clock. The dearth of writing means that the dial has room to breathe. Usually I do like something about the specifications or a description of the piece at 6 o'clock. You know, 200 meters, automatic, perhaps even the model name. Marloe have decided against this in favour of something more aesthetically pleasing and accurate to the 1950s period that they're seeking to encapsulate. It's Marloe's take on Marie Kondo minimalism, the life-changing magic of tidying up watch dials. There is room, thankfully, for the Swiss-made denomination at 6 o'clock. The train track that runs around the perimeter is also done in this copper tone, but it has a matte finish and nicely ties in with the other copper touches. The chamfered hour and minute hands, like the numerals, have a high polished finish, and the indented lines that run along them give them a stylish flourish. Again, it's all subtle, but it's all tastefully executed. The exhibition caseback magnifies the Solita SW215-1 manual wind movement. The finishing, given this is still an entry-level Swiss movement, is just, well, fine, with some vertical brushing on the main plate, which Marloe have signed. Again, a nice detail that makes the off-the-shelf movement feel more like it belongs to this watch, if you get what I mean. It's running within the stated tolerances of -8 to +15 seconds a day, at +12. But it's difficult to be a Karen about these things when it's running within the stated tolerances. Like Christopher Ward, Marloe provide a 5-year warranty for this movement, something which more brands are doing now, thankfully, and which some of the bigger watchmakers really should start taking note of. Right now on Marloe's website, you can get this on sale for £975, reduced from £1,195, and if you use the 10% discount for the new customer's email sign-up thing, that takes the price below £900, which for a limited number piece that'll last a lifetime, if not just 5 years. It's a very competitive price, and that's the price at which I'm reviewing this really. The leather strap it comes on takes a bit of breaking in, but it's of extremely good quality and is signed with the Marloe logo, as is the polished buckle. The case back, as you can see, is screwed down, helping to achieve that 100 meters of water resistance, which is the minimum I expect on my watches now anyway. Even in Britain, where this watch was designed, we're soon going to need swimming pools on hand to make the heat bearable, so 50 meters or so, even on a pilot's watch, just won't cut it. But is this a pilot's watch? That's the question I've continuously been asking with this one. From the top down, it looks like a dress watch. The applied high polish Arabics and handset are reminiscent of a Patek Philippe, the polished uppers of the lugs, but then the sides of the watch look like they belong to a different piece entirely, and that includes the oversized push-pull crown. The knurling on that crown is impeccably done. The action when you wind the watch, ditto. There is a ghost date position however, so when you pull the crown out to the first position it won't hack, and there's no date disc to spin. It's nicely signed with the Marloe M initial. Let's go back to the sides of the case anyway, and very much like my patchy, inconsistent beard, it's the sides of this piece that are the most jarring. They resemble the silhouette of a seagull, the wings rising either side of the dipped centre. The edges are brushed, while the beveled inner portion is almost bead blasted, with a smooth but dull finish that's basically industrial and tool watch like. I'm not sure how I feel about that, to tell you the truth. On the wrist it feels good, but the fact that the centre of this case is dipped and angled towards the wrist rather than away from it makes it look like it's not sitting as flush as it feels. It's purely an aesthetic choice though, I should add. That's to say that this is a comfortable piece to wear. The fact the watch is just over 12mm thick helps in that regard too. So the Pacific 52 should comfortably fit under a shirt cuff. But should I be saying that about a pilot's watch? Shouldn't that be the sort of thing you look for from a dress watch? I'm asking more questions than I am providing answers here. It's a peculiarly beautiful watch. It'd be a bold choice for a pilot, but an interesting choice for a fancy night out. It sits in that weird crossover point of the pilot watch dress watch Venn diagram, as it were. Sticking with pilots, the aviator this might best be compared to is D.B. Cooper, the unidentified man that hijacked a Boeing 727, demanded a ransom, but then parachuted into nothingness, with nobody ever knowing what ever happened to him, nor who he was. Marloe have created a watch with tons of character, and that we could be celebrating for years to come, especially were they to start offering this in more colourways. But it's also a piece that has a strange hybrid identity that might leave some scratching their heads as to when and where to show it off. Personally, I'm sad to be sending this back to the company, because I do see this more as a dress watch, one whose beauty is captivating and alluring by virtue of its irregularities. While some might agree with me that it's a dress watch through and through, there will be some, I'm sure, who see the big crown and expansive dial and deem it a pilot's watch. Whatever you think, you're right. Thank you to Marloe for letting me spend some time with this watch, and to whoever gets this one, number 114 of the run. Your watch has been worn by a YouTuber with 3,000 Wait, I haven't even got Okay, please hit the subscribe button and like this video. Every like and every subscriber really does help the channel. Links are in the description for where you can get hold of this watch with a discount. It's just the Marloe website. But thank you for watching anyway, and I hope to see you next time.